Alright, new day, new session. I think this week might be my last. I'm not sure if I will hear back from anybody else. I don't think I have any more pending applications aside from Boeing, really. And from my understanding, Boeing for some reason doesn't do technicals, which is weird. Let me just adjust this lighting real quick. Gotta make sure that it points the right way. Wait for it. There we go. Good lighting. Gotta love having blinds to adjust your stream setup lighting. Alright. Let's go ahead and ready up and see what we got today. And midterms coming up. Knowing that you graduate in, what, 4 weeks now, makes it a lot more challenging to force yourself to really do anything. Because, I mean, obviously, you know, you gotta... All these classes, if I don't pass one of them, I don't graduate. So I need to pass all of them, and I'm currently doing quite well. But this midterm, it's been a real big challenge to force yourself to study for a midterm. And force yourself to do well. When you know that a 2.0 in the class will still get you that diploma. But gotta keep that GPA up, at least some. Okay, let's see what we got. Interval intersection, given a two-dimensional integer list of the form start end representing intervals inclusive. Return the intersection that is the interval that lies within all of the given intervals. You can assume that the intersection will be non-empty. Interesting. So we need to find the interval that is the intersection of all other intervals. So here's it. There's no way it's that easy, right? Because the logic here, I think, is to find the earliest, start, and latest end, and return that as an interval. Sweet, okay. Let's go ahead and do that then. We're just gonna do, I was going to sort them initially, but sorting would be an n log n, and we don't want to, I guess, use any more than we need to. So that sorting would also only give us the first element, not the last element, so this, I think, is the faster way to do it. We're gonna go through the array. And it's gonna be a single loop, not a nested one, just because we know that they're always gonna be of length 2. So int min equals intervals at 0 at 0, int start, let's do this actually, let's call it start and end. At 0 at 1. And we want to find the minimum start and the maximum end. So what we're going to say here is start is always equal to the minimum of start versus intervals at 0 at I. So we always want to update this to the minimum interval that we can find, minimum start, and we want the maximum end. Cool, and let's go ahead and update this into the array here. Equals start end, and let's go and return that result. Interval problems are quite interesting. They're not really something I'm terribly good at. I've done like merge intervals, I've done like sorting intervals and whatnot, but Oh wait, it's I at 0. And I at 1. There you go. And I at 1. This should fix the issue we're having. Wrong answer. Interesting. Okay. Did I flip these? I think it should be the maximum start and the minimum end. There we go. Cool. Faster way to solve this, nothing terribly obvious comes to mind. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one here. Noisy palindrome. You're given a string S containing lowercase and uppercase alphabet characters as well as digits from 0 to 9. Return whether S is a palindrome if we only consider the lowercase alphabet characters. Okay, so the two ways to solve this that I can think of immediately. One is going to be faster than the other by a long shot, I think, while one is easier to implement. So one way is slower, right? What we can do is iterate through and make a string of only lowercase. Then we just solve is palindrome on that string. And that should be fairly easy, but it does force us to iterate through more things, hence making it slower. The second way is to use a two-pointer approach and pretty much solve is palindrome, but each time we advance, we do a while check pretty much. We advance while not lowercase letter. And that's going to be the faster way to solve it. But the main question is, right, which one do I currently have the brain function to implement? And I think having woken up about 20 minutes ago, I currently don't have the brain function to implement this one, but I will come back to this one to do it once I figure out the rest of these problems. So let's go ahead and do this one, right? We're going to start off with the string builder. I found myself like realizing I need to start naming these things more appropriate names than map, set, vs, string builder, whatever, because I tend to, in interviews, I tend to try and name them appropriate things to not have like generic names, just because readability is also important in this code. But I keep typing like map and then having to go back and rename it, and then my code doesn't compile because somewhere I slipped up into these habits and typed map again. Car, C, in V, in S. Okay, if C is greater than or equal to a lowercase a, and C is less than or equal to a lowercase z, we're going to do bs.add C. Okay. Then we should just be able to solve this palindrome. Return false so this compiles. So what we're doing here is pretty much just filtering. Okay. Hey man, it's good to see you. How did the Google was it on site? Was it phone? I can't quite recall, but how'd that go? Really hoping it went well and hoping at least some of the advice I gave was useful. Oh yeah, right. 4 int I equals 0. There's a phone, just got feedback today. and got sent to on-site. Bravo, congrats, man. Congrats. Yeah, no, the on-site is not by any means easy, so start practicing. Any news for me? Still waiting, man. Google process takes quite a while. It's been, I kid you not, let me look at the calendar real quick. It has been, so I interviewed with them on I think the 18th of January. So it has been 1 week, 2 week, going on week 3. Got a month to practice, yeah. Legit, I feel like Google's, I wouldn't really expect to see any hards just because, I guess maybe if your interviewer is just having a bad day, but it's gonna be all on the sort of like higher difficulty of mediums. And from at least my personal experience, it might be different, but going through their both their OAs, going through their internship process and failing, and going through their full-on full-time developer thing, their focus is entirely on like, I got lucky to not have DP, but I know it's really common. I've heard DP. I've heard graphs are very, very common. Trees, you will probably see at least one major question involving trees. It's a very popular data structure. Maps they like as well. And I don't know about this year, but I remember back last year when one of our people from our university was interviewing, ended up with like 3 or 4 recursive backtracking questions in one kind of on the on-site. Granted, this man was a genius, so can't really complain. But yeah, it's gonna be more of those. The way that I prepared, honestly, was just doing Google tagged questions, even on like binary search. But yeah, no, DP is I got lucky and managed to somehow get by without DP. Yeah, I got by without DP, and pretty much I think all of my interviews I've never seen like a hardcore DP question. I think I've seen like an easier end one that I managed to brute force. Yeah, I'm glad I can help out at least some. It's a very stressful process for sure. But, I mean, granted, when everybody applies to Google, you can afford to be very selective. 0 is less than filter.length over 2 because it's just... And then... let's just do less than or equal, I think. Okay. Man, because, okay, my deadline for my second offer that I have standing is on the 14th, and I let them know about this, like, last week. So, if they don't get back to me by the 14th, it's, like, it's gonna be very difficult to either get an extension or have to, like, completely stop considering Google as an option. I hope I don't have to do either of those. I hope they can just get back to me by the end of this week. Filter. I does not equal filtered. Let's go ahead and break this off into a new line. That's the Microsoft offer with the deadline. Because, like, I don't know, at this point, I genuinely, like, after looking more into Microsoft and seeing, one, the location kind of is a lot nicer. And I don't know if you've ever seen what I mean, I'm assuming, I know Google's office is pretty out there as well in terms of like size and kind of being overall huge. But man, Microsoft's office is, here, once I solve this, it's maybe my number 2 choice after Google from Fang. What's funny is Microsoft somehow isn't even in Fang. They're like, you have like your Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, and then I think Microsoft's like right below that. And I don't know, for me personally, that makes it a bit more appealing. Because it should be, yeah, it's like right up there with like the top companies you can work at, but without the pressure of working at an actual like FANG company. I do know quite a few people from our kind of university who did make it in to FANG companies, and especially Amazon. I've heard a lot about you know, they're obviously excited to join the company, excited to join Amazon, but they're all worried about how long they'll be able to last with their performance metrics, and just worried about worried about getting just pipped and like put on the performance improvement pipeline and then having to go look for jobs in like, you know, in like 6 months. I don't know, I currently feel like with looking at Microsoft and what they're offering, I feel, you know, almost no stress regarding that. Because from what I understand, Microsoft's like a very long-term company. Goodness, I have so many typos. Thank you. Really. Where am I? Line 48. In solution, line 20. I think it's just less than should be. Okay. Because, yeah, here, let me pull this tab aside here real quick. Oh, no, please don't start playing a random Twitch stream. I think, because, like, looking and doing some research on sort of... I thought Microsoft's office was, like, a few buildings. And then you, like, you open up... you open up one of the images, and you see this, and it's like, bro, this isn't even an office anymore. Like, what? There's just so much at this, like, from my understanding, they have, like, a full-on mall. Just casually, like, on their, They have, like, a little town, pretty much. Like, look at this. Tell me this does not look like an appealing place to work. One of my favorite things I think I've seen... Hold on, let me see if I pull up a picture. Yeah, there we go. They have, open... They have, like, tree houses for you to just kind of work in. Like what? What other company just casually has tree houses for their employees to work in? That's just cheating. No, it's kind of nuts. They also have a, yeah, they have like a full, from like the little recap video I saw, it was like 1.4 million square foot mall in, just on their campus, with like shops and like gift shops and things like that. And it's like, I don't even know, man. Their campus is like an entire city. They have transportation systems to get you from building to building. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Where is this one? There we go. It's a very small picture. Need a bigger one. There you go. Yeah, they have buses. Just Microsoft brand buses. How do you have a campus that is so big you need a public transportation network inside of it? But yeah, overall not a terrible place to work, you know. Okay, let's go. Let's move on to the next one here. Okay, maybe if I can finish this one, I can I can continue. I can, what's it called? Look at Google stuff. Okay, return the number of nodes that are an only child. The node is an only child if the parent has exactly one child. So this is gonna be a post-order traversal, I think, again. Oh, hold on. I think I forgot to update the room link in Nightbot. Give me one sec here. So this is the right one right here. I'll go ahead and update those settings right now as well. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, it's a little bit annoying to have to update these rooms just because your URL changes every single time, but there we go. I thought once you reach like a certain level you could change the room name, but that doesn't allow you to sort of reserve a URL, which is unfortunate. Okay, that's that. So what we want to do is check left, right, and if not left, or not right. Okay, this needs to be an XOR operation, and I can't remember how to build out an XOR. So let's go ahead and do this. So if node equals null, we're going to return true. What's number 4? Why is... Ooh, this looks like a complicated one that I don't want to look at right now. Okay, so let's do int left equals 0, int, now let's do solve root dot left. This should be a 0, not a boolean. Int right equals solve root dot right. So if it's an only child, I think what we need to do is solve it from one level up rather than down. So we can do something along these lines, right? We're like boolean has left equals node. It's gonna be root, not node. There we go. Root dot left just has to not equal null. Cool. Then we're going to do the same logic for the right. There we go. So now what we need to do is to say, for readability, let's do int is only child. Then we're going to say if. How do we do an exclusive OR operation? So we need it to be either one or the other, but not both. So if has left or has right and not has left and has right. Okay, so what this will allow us to do, let's do only child is set to 1. Cool. So if you could use the bitwise XOR operator, does that work here? I think the bitwise XOR was what? This one? Yeah, it works on array primitive. Okay, sweet. So I think that should be it. Cool. Yeah, because trying to build out the XOR logic from scratch is difficult when you took the class over a year ago. It's been a while. Okay. Then return is only child plus has plus left plus right. I think that should do it, honestly. Does not compile. Yep, that'll do it. Cool. Put this back. Put that back. Done and solved. Very slow at that, but it's okay. I think if you were in something like JavaScript, you could set isOnlyChild to be this and then just append it, and I think you could treat it as an integer of 1 or 0 for true or false. Okay, I'm gonna be back in a second here. I'm gonna take a bit of a break, and then I'll solve this last question, hopefully. You can replace left and right with method calls. Oh, you make a fair point. Hold on. I've gotten used to doing it like this because it's just more readable. This problem could be solved via in order and pre-order traversal as well. I did pre-order. So pre-order is center, left, and right. See, because my only thing with the pre-order is I'm never sure about how to pass these values back up the recursive chain with anything other than a post order. So let's try doing it that way, right? Let's do solve left plus solve right. We can get rid of these then. Want to see my... I'm not quite sure what IMP stands for, to be honest, but yeah, if it's code, you can either... I think pastebin's been the common one to share code. Don't post it in the chat. Nightbot tends to freak out with a bunch of special characters. It started at one point just, oh, implement... You know, I should have known. But yeah, Nightbot freaks out and at one point started mass banning people from the chat for no reason when when people started sending code. Dot left. I think I've made it significantly less, like less angry. Cool. That looks like it speeds it up a little bit, maybe. Oh, good a bit, yeah. I did see something kind of funny. I was looking through my like Twitch stats earlier, and apparently I've like gained enough traction to where I can apply to be an affiliate. All right, Pastebin. I've legit never heard about Pastebin until this. So let only children equal 0. Oh, okay. So that's why I was confused about how you would pass that up, because you did it with, you know, iterative tree traversals have never like been something I even considered. So that's the pre-order with the top, then left, dot right. Goodness, yeah, okay. Okay, this makes sense. I don't know why I've never considered iterative traversals of trees. Recursive ones just, I guess that's kind of how we were taught. So it's what kind of made sense most in my head. Though I'm not sure if, like, you know, runtime is any different really between the two of these. What I can actually do is replace this and replace this with this, making it the solution significantly less readable, but no runtime difference. No, okay. So it's I guess mostly of how you want to think about these. I guess the other way to figure out here would be, I wonder if you could probably condense this even further with like a ternary expression, but it's not something I can really think through. But yeah, no, I can technically apply to be a Twitch affiliate and take all the incredible, massive amounts of donations that people give for Leak Code streams. I don't think it's something I'm gonna do though. I don't really have sort of long-term plans to stay on the platform. It was just a way for me to hopefully get some more people involved with interview practice, hopefully help out where I can from my previous experiences, and help myself out along the line as well with practice. So you're given a list of non-negative integers piles where each pile at I represents the number of coins on pile I. Real quick. Okay. So we're given an array where index equals coins on pile. In each move, you can do the following until there's no more coins. Pick any 3 piles from piles, so we can pick 3 piles. A friend will take the pile with the max number of coins. Max num of coins. You will take the next highest. And a friend takes the last. Okay, so what we need to do is to always offer the friend the smallest amount while giving ourselves the biggest. So if we sort the array and give friend I plus 1, and take I minus 1, length minus 1, for ourselves. I believe this should give us the biggest number of coins that we can have. Because let's say in this case we give the friend 1 and 2 and we take 6. Maybe not exactly like that. So I guess let's first of all, let's sort out this input here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we give the friend 1 and 2, we take 6. We get 3, 4, 5. Oh, because the friend always takes the biggest one first. So we want to sort it, and then I last, and then minus 2 here. So the friend gets 7, we get 5, 2, 3, 4. The friend gets 6, we get 3. And I think that's pretty much the way to tackle this. I misread the problem a little bit, so okay, let's go ahead and try it. So we're gonna do arrays.sort piles. The way to do this, which would kind of make it easier, I think, would be to put like a list and just remove them, so you don't have to keep track of the indices you're working with. But why did I make this a method? Okay, so let's do this. Int left index equals 0. Int right index equals piles dot length minus 1. So one thing that's also important to know here is that we're guaranteed the triplets, so we don't have to do any sort of error checking. Okay, let's go ahead and start this iteration. So I forgot to put it itself before inclusive call. Okay, for what? What are we going to do? I guess while left index less than right index. Cool. So we need to keep track of our coins here. Coins is equal to 0. So after sorting it, what we want to do is move left. We don't even need to move left, because we know which indices we're going to take. We know we're going to take I minus 1, and then there we only get, so we don't even need this. We don't need this right here. If you get number 4, let's see, it appears to be behaving according to instructions. Okay, so a couple things we can find out right now, right? We will have at most length mod 3 games. First game, we take length, we take second to last. Then we skip one, and we take fourth to last. And we keep doing this until we've played N mod 3 games. So what we can say here is int games played equals 0. While games played is less than piles.lengthMod3. So that's going to be the, not mod 3, I think over 3. So if we have 9, we can play 3 games. If we have 12, we can play 4 games. Then, what we can do is the right index is going to be minus 2. We're going to do our coins plus equals piles at I, right index. And then I'm going to do, first of all, right index minus 2. And we're going to then also up games played by 1. Let's try this. And return our coins. There's a good chance that I made a compilation error somewhere. Out coins. That'll do it. Okay. Cool. The trick is it's very clever. So pick 3 file. Okay, let's write out the process sort of for this, right? So we sort the coins, and at any given instance, we want the second biggest. Oh, Snailman, welcome. Showing you as a first-time viewer, so welcome to the stream. Okay, biggest, which is going to be length minus 2. Then we know that after this, friend wants the biggest. We take second biggest again. So we take second biggest. That's a greedy problem. So we take second biggest, which is 2 items back. Sweet, yeah. That was fast, man. Okay. What level are you? That's my question here. Can I click on the profile? I can. Okay, we got... Whoa. Alright. Okay. Look... I mean, have you done all of... Snailman, if this is you good, bro? 19 problems solved on January 5th. 9, 19, 4, okay. 10 problems, 7 problems, 11, 18 problems. Don't tell me you've done all of this in a month. That is nuts. Are you preparing for something specific, or what's going on here? Started in January. Yeah, dude, that's insane. Just bored. You know, finish interviews. You know, usually when people are bored, they'll go, like, I don't know, outside or, you know, play video games. But you just decided to be an absolute legend and grind through 20 LeetCode hards with 1 harder and 160 mediums in a month? If you don't mind me asking, what interviews did you finish? Because that's kind of nuts. I mean, even in my time, I've been on this platform for, what, like 6 months streaming now, and I did some practice beforehand. This is where I'm at. You have solved more mediums in a month than I have in my entire time on this platform. Okay, now I'm kind of also curious. Google Seattle office. We have 12 minutes. Just found the easies on BINARYSEARCH. Aren't super worth. Yeah. I remember starting with them as a way to sort of get used to the algorithms and start getting used to the more obscure ones. The medium ones are definitely where it's at, though. Yeah, there's a couple I've seen where, like, it's not the problem itself that's difficult. It's entirely the difficulty scaling is really bad. I agree. No, yeah, it's like the edge cases that are super weird and that nobody wants to solve. I mean, okay, I decided to do a bit of like comparing to the Google office. If, let's say, I do land it, you know, trying to see where I want to work, but I mean, don't get me wrong, this looks cool, but I don't know. I feel like the Microsoft Office, from what I'm seeing here at least, has been a lot more appealing. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, there's the, what level are you for SW? Dude, I'm a student. I'm graduating in a few months here. So, once I graduate, I have an offer for like an entry level new grad position for Microsoft, and I'm still waiting to see if I can land that new grad for Google. Hey, congrats! Look at us. Yeah, no, new grad is it's I feel like new grad is a nice entry point, and the reason I have don't get me wrong, I've received I think Microsoft is my fourth offer here. First two offers I received were from exactly. That's the main reason I'm considering it so much. Like everyone I spoke to during the interview process pretty much said the same thing of like it's there's the work-life balance is the main reason they stayed. But no, I've received a couple offers. First two I received were around the 80K range from smaller companies that nobody really knows. But I feel like as a new grad, you have a lot more opportunity to land something bigger because a lot of companies hire new grads, and the questions are easier for new grads. So if you do the work now and land something higher, it's a lot easier to move up. Because let's say there was a consulting firm that I initially got an offer from, and you're making like 80K working as a consultant. It's still pretty good money, but you're working at a consultant firm which has almost no growth, nobody really knows about, and you're kind of starting off right here, for example. And then you get something like Microsoft as an offer, which is higher up, it's more known, it's a very sort of large company. And applying for jobs afterwards, you either apply from down here and have to move up to the level of kind of Microsoft to have that kind of influence and then move up, or if you put in the extra, it took me, kid you not, I think 3 months total to finish their process and everything. But now I have a kind of a leg up, so it's kind of moving up from here rather than starting here and needing to go up. Think of each percent salary increase stacking over your entire career. Yep, for sure. And it's a lot easier to jump to other, let's say, Fang level companies with Microsoft as your job experience for a few years rather than like a consulting firm. Yeah, salary only goes up. I got an offer from another company previously. Their salary was I think 20K higher, but they recently got acquired by a larger company, and they used to have a great kind of company culture from everything that I could read. But after they got acquired, it just tanked downhill. Like everyone's pretty much complaining now about the company culture inside. So I mean, and plus this is Microsoft. It's kind of hard to beat, huh? Okay, let's see if we can sort of write out solutions. Sounds like you had a good season. Yeah, man, I think I'm at like 150 applications for new grad. It's definitely a numbers game. For internships, I think I applied to like 170, and I got one interview, and that was the interview that I landed. So I've definitely stepped up. 150 for 8 offers is really good. No, well, okay, not 8. Did I say 8? I don't think I hope I didn't say 8. It's 4 right now, including Microsoft, and then hopefully Google's gonna be the 5th. Granted, though, Google would have to offer me a lot more for me to consider swapping. Like I'm kind of dead set on Microsoft at this point, but it's always good to see what they offer. Google's little lowball this year. Is it not the usual 130? I think it was for them base. Find min and max of the array. Return them. Here, I'm kind of curious. Levels dot. Let's pull up. Let's see. There you go. I do want my dark mode back on. I don't know why that's ever off to begin with. So, Google's level 3 SDE. View the data points. So, let's look in the kind of Seattle area. Skip. So, 129, 127, 129. When were these submitted? Let's see. I want new grad, and let's do new offers only. Yeah, it's pretty low compared to what I'd expect from Top Fang. Yeah, I see. It's usually more from what I thought, and it looks like it's the salary looks to be pretty consistent. Yeah, pretty consistent around the one. Ooh, this is. Yeah, this poor guy right here got stuck with 106 at Google. I feel bad. 100K on Android. Really? 100K base on Android for Google. That's nuts. Why is it so low? Because speaking to some of our alumni from our university that made it into Google, they made it in last year. I think it was a little bit better off salary-wise, but it's asking them like, hey, do you what do you think of your salary? My favorite quote from them was, it's I'm not gonna complain, but I don't think I'm worth this I don't think I'm worth the same as two average American families. So I think that kind of puts into perspective where, I mean, this 130K, obviously 140K almost, does sound nice, but looking at the range of what they offer for the Seattle area, I think the Bay Area offers might be tossing it up a lot. Because if we look at, I think it's San Francisco actually, anything in California is going to be a much higher. Yeah, 142, 150, 134, 120, 130, 135. But granted, exclusively did Bay Area offers and low. That's the thing. Cost of living is always something that's kind of neglected. You can make, 200K in the Bay Area, but I think man, let me see if I can find that link again. I sent it out last time. It's a sort of cost of living analysis of, hold on. Yeah. Yeah, I can't find it, but it was like, I think it's like 180 is 230 in Bay, depends on your cost of living calculator. It's something along those lines. I think 200K in Bay Area was like 160K in Seattle. But it's just so much more expensive to live there. Here, let's go back here and do SDE 3 from Microsoft. Yeah, I think this is a little bit out of date. Let's see if there's any sort of new offers being submitted for filter. New offers only for new grad. Load, please. Please load. Oh. Wait, why does this one have a check mark, but this one doesn't? Ah. Okay. So, Redmond, let's do, yeah, so 111, 161K TC, 112, 112, 113, 113, 121. This man got lucky. I don't know how he... Oh, it's Mountain View, California. That's why. Do you mind me asking your TC? If I had to give a rough estimate, honestly, I can give my base offer. I mean, it was pretty much like something along these lines. Like, this is about what I was sort of offered, but I had some leverage to negotiate, and because I had a competing offer here and there, so I was able to get a bit more out of it. But I think this is about what you would expect in at least the Redmond area for a Microsoft offer. But yeah, no, I mean, hey, thanks, appreciate it. No, yeah, it's like, if you look at this, it's only, well, like, okay, granted, 20K base is lower, but if, let's say you're working at these companies for 2 years, you're losing out on 40K. I know Google has a decent work-life balance, but, I mean, I also don't want to drive up to, like, because I think their office is in Seattle, and I don't, I'm currently a student. Yep, I'm graduating in a few months here. Well, not a few months, I think, like, a month. But yeah, it's one thing to, it's very... On the surface, it's very nice to think of like the Seattle area as being this like kind of glamorous place, but from like anywhere outside of Seattle, if you're trying to get into Seattle for work, I kid you not, you will be sitting in dead stop traffic for a good hour. The drive there from kind of the general area around here is usually what, like 40-50 minutes, but on a bad day of traffic, it could take you an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to get there. And it's a lot less appealing to drive, to work for 20K more when you drive 2 hours one way there and 2 hours the other way back. even an hour and a half, that's 3 hours a day you're losing out to drive. And I've kind of said it for myself that, you know, my time and my work-life balance outside of work is a lot more valuable to me than, you know, just TC in general. So that's why I'm kind of willing to sort of give up that extra bit of money if it means that I can avoid A, having to sit in traffic every single day, B, because Microsoft is currently fully remote and kind of plans to stay that way for a long time, and has been very good at offering people the ability to work remote, while I think Google is trying to get it into kind of a more either hybrid or in-office model, and I just don't want to go into that area every day. I feel like over a number TC changing over work-life balance is dumb. Yeah, obviously, you know, it's very nice to be able to live comfortably. But I mean, if you're, after a certain point, it's more of like a, hey, you know, what do you balance more? Like, with 80K, I was still sort of looking around to see if I could find more, just because, I mean, with a 4-year degree, especially in tech and being a STEM degree, I knew I could get more just because I was seeing what the industry was offering. But after, like, for example, something like Microsoft, it's like, anything up from here doesn't have a significant impact on what you can really afford to do. Because 80K in the Seattle area might get you like an apartment, like a 1-bedroom apartment in whatever cheap area of Seattle exists. But after, you know, for example, like 100 grand, you can afford a much nicer apartment. But I mean, anything after that, you have a nice apartment, but it's just like in one of the bigger towers. There's, in the Bellevue area near the office, there were these very interesting apartments. And to put it into perspective, they are, let me toss this over here. I was doing some digging on their pricing for these apartments. This is like downtown Bellevue, and they look pretty cool, don't get me wrong. But a 1-bedroom apartment in these apartments in downtown Bellevue will cost you around $2,700 a month for a 1-bedroom, which is a little bit absurd. And Seattle pricing is not any better. And especially with this housing market, the fact that with a 6-figure salary coming out of a 4-year college degree, you are still wondering if you can afford to live anywhere near your job, it's a little bit concerning. Which is why you buy a home. You go, get yourself one of these. That's like maybe 30-40 minutes from your job. You pay half the amount that you would for your apartment, but you then own a house. And then you just drive to work, or you take the train, or anything else that's not paying almost $3 grand for a 1-bedroom apartment. But overall, Seattle area is expensive. Okay, so I guess we can go through and go over a time and space complexity of all of these solutions and go on from there. So for the first one, what we really need to do is find an interval that encompasses everything. Find an interval that lies within all other intervals. So what we need to do is find the furthest up ahead and the furthest start time and the closest end time, because that allows us to do is say, hey, I know this one starts after all of these, so it must intersect with these. And I know this one ends before all of these, so it must intersect with them. So I just do a O of n traversal of the array and return an array that contains the two of these. So that's just an O of n time, O of 1 space, and that makes it easy. Okay. Noisy palindrome. There were 2 solutions to this that I saw. I did not really feel like implementing the more complex one of them, but this would be how you do it. The one that I chose to go through is to filter the string first and then iterate through it. This does make it O of n, at worst case n plus n, if you have a string that's already all characters, but it saved me the headache of having to write this solution. So what I did was I pretty much iterated through a string. Anytime I found a character that was within the lowercase alphabet, I added it to the string, and then I just did solve palindrome. And then this one, what I would do pretty much is, let's say, I would just immediately skip the filter step go to solve the is palindrome question, and then what we can do is to say we have AB 3 5 C 4 5 3 2 C, like that, for example. What we can do is start at the end here, go until we find the first character. We found it here, go from the right until we find the next character. We found it. Compare them. Cool. Then we just do a while loop and we keep traversing until we find a character. Is this timed, by the way? Yeah. So we'd finish the contest for the session for today, but I usually set the timer to about 50 minutes. I think 50 minutes for 2 easies, 2 mediums is it's a decent amount of time for me to be able to solve them and to also sort of explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Okay, only child. This one was, my initial solution was not this clean. I think it might be a bit more explainable, but it's not as clean and not as efficient because you're doing a lot more. I can hardly even solve one probably, especially true ones. I'm still kind of on it, you know. I've been, if you look at my little chart thingy, I've been doing it. Oh right, February's just there. Oh, yeah, so it just didn't count any problems as being solved because I'd been solving ones that I'd already solved before. But I've been at this again since, what, beginning of January-ish? So for this one, what we do is, if it's a null node, we know it can't be an only child because there's no only child, that's nothing. And then, what we do is pretty much say, if this exclusive OR operator is very handy. I tried to build out the logic using ands and ors, but I couldn't figure it out. So what we do is we do root.left and root.right. If one of those is true, but not both of them, we know that that node down there is an only child, so we can add one to it. And then we just continue to solve left and solve right. And I think this makes it a pre-order traversal now, actually. This would run in O of n time with O of 1 space since we're just using that constant variable each time. 3-player coin game. This one was interesting. I went through a good couple iterations, I think, in my head before really solving this one. What made it kind of obvious that it was a greedy problem is because you know, your friend takes the biggest of the 3 you choose, then you take second, they take the next one. And what you want to do is minimize what they get, but maximize what you get. So obviously you're going to need to know which is where without having to constantly search through the list. And this is why sorting allows you to always have the minimum on the left side and always have the maximum on the right side. Then, what we know then is that he's always going to take the biggest one that we give, so we need to select the 2 biggest, that way we maximize what we get out of the deal. So, another thing that we know is, let's say we sorted this array, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We know that if we take this one, the next biggest one that we'll be able to get, if we give, again, the maximum that we have available, one below that, and the minimum, which we want to do each time, we know he'll take this one, which gives us this one. And if you notice, that's a difference of 2. And another important thing is we get at most n over 3, not n mod 3. We get at most n over 3 games, because every time we take away 3 from n, and n over 3 is going to give us the total amount that we can play while taking away 3 every time. But yeah, what we did then, games played could be computed outside the loop. This is where I'm a little bit confused. I'd like to hear that. But yeah, I just keep incrementing it pretty much until we reach the games that we wanted to play, and I add every second coin from the back until we reach the amount that we're getting. And I think this would run in, this is n log n time with O of 1 space if I'm not mistaken. Check my solution on RG tab, let's see. Stop at, oh, so I think honestly this does it the same way, roughly, because you're still guess you just avoid maybe one check. It's very, very similar. Because yeah, you can calculate the amount of game where you want to stop, and then you just decrement. Yeah. So you just went for an for a for loop instead of a while loop here. Okay. Yeah, there's more for sure. All right, I think that's gonna be it for me. I'm not sure how long I'll keep these things going for, but I'm hoping to finish off at least till the end of this week. See if I can hear back from Google finally, because I don't want to leave that part off as a cliffhanger. But once I hear back from Google, if at that point I haven't heard back from another company regarding a potential interview, I might just have to either take a break there or kind of move on to other things. But I guess that's to be seen. I will keep going at least until I hear a result from Google. I feel like that'd be a nice way to end it. What are the level of questions Microsoft and Google ask? Google was very, very challenging. I'm not even going to lie. I think I got a bit luckier with Microsoft. Microsoft is definitely easier than Google. I got fairly lucky. I didn't get any DP questions. All of mine were pretty much either LeetCode easies or maybe an easy medium. But I've heard of people getting stuck with things like job selection, getting stuck with DP questions. I've heard of people... Yeah, and I've heard of people also getting stuck with like implementing merge sort, implementing quick sort, and other sorting algorithms mid-interview, kind of with Microsoft. So that sounds very difficult, and I am more than thankful that I didn't get that. With Google, I would say that they employ similar principles to LeetCode questions. Like by practicing LeetCode, you will do better overall, just because you know the algorithms, you know how to sort things, you know how to, just look at a problem and figure out what to do. But you won't find the specific questions that Google asks on LeetCode. I think I maybe had one that I'd seen before on like binary search and LeetCode. Did you get system design rounds? I did not get a system design round. There was one round from Microsoft that I would guess you could maybe call system design. It was like, design an object to do XYZ, to store XYZ, things like that. And kind of do so in an efficient way. But that would be the extent of, I think, the system design I'd seen. For one of my other interviews, though, I did have to design like an Airbnb-style database schema. Like just like a SQL schema for the database. Alright. If there's any more questions, I would be happy to answer them. And then I do need to go start studying for my midterm tomorrow. I can't keep putting it off forever, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to. OS and database management, or CN. CN is something content network. OS was not asked. DBMS, at least not for the new grad SDE role. Yeah, none of those were present. I feel like DBMS would be asked in a specifically like a role that required it, but I don't think maybe at least not for my team it was required. But yeah, honestly, just keep practicing, keep doing questions is all I can say, and at the end of the day, remember that your interviewers are just as much people as you are, and if you make a mistake, don't freak out, talk about it, talk about, what you noticed, how you would fix it, quietly fix it, and then just move on, It doesn't help to get like flustered and stuck and just, I don't know, just remember that they're people at the end of the day. And granted, you can have some interviewers who are much more difficult to get along with, but from my experience, if you just, you hold a conversation the entire time if possible, you laugh at their jokes, they might laugh at yours, and then, yeah, hopefully it works out at the end of the day. Alright, that's gonna be it for me today. Thanks everyone for stopping by, man. We are at 7 viewers. I don't think I've ever really averaged this much. But thank you everyone for stopping by. I'll be back tomorrow between 10 and 10:15, depending on 10 and 10:15 PST, depending on when I wake up. So yeah, that'll be it. Thanks everyone for stopping by.